Right on time. Right on time.
Absolutely. Fenton mission statement. Cultivate successful, passionate, empowered learners through rigor, relevance, and relationships. Fenton belief statement. Successful, passionate, empowered learners thrive when we provide a safe, caring, and welcoming environment, diversity, equity, and inclusion unify our community, school and home collaborate as one, we champion innovative teaching and engage learning with state-of-the-art facilities, we infuse social-emotional learning into academics and culture, we prepare students to fulfill their civic responsibility, we immerse students in authentic life experiences. The Bison Way. Students and adults at Fenton High School create a safe, caring, empathetic environment where we believe in each other, respect diversity, communicate openly, grow together, and hold each other to high expectations to become the leaders and innovators of the future.
Next is recognitions. Kate.
All right, as Kate is moving forward here, we have a tremendous night. Look at all the people here tonight. We are recognizing 4 different groups tonight, so we're thrilled to have everyone here, and Kate will kick it off.
All right. I hope you're ready for some nonstop applause because we have had an impressive start to 2026 with a lot of student accomplishments. So for our first move, let's invite the chess team to please come forward. You guys can fill a note here. All right, the chess team returned to the IHSA state finals after a brief hiatus and finished 14th overall in a challenging 3A division. Their path to state was equally tough, but they advanced after defeating Lakes and Cary Grove in a very competitive sectional. These are some of the brightest minds and best strategic thinkers in all of Illinois. Additionally, Coach Stephanie Downen was nominated for Coach of the Year honors by the Illinois Chess Coaches Association. We also want to thank Ms. Downen for her many years of outstanding mentorship and coinciding success. With that, I'll turn it over to Coach Downen and Coach G to introduce and share more.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm Coach Kansarczyk. I am the assistant coach for chess. Just very honored to be here with this team and this great group of students. I'm also grateful to be here with Coach Downen, who's just an amazing stalwart of the chess program. She's just been an amazing help, and I just see the hard work she puts in and day out, so I just want to honor her as well. I'm going to honor some of the students. I'm going to call them by name. Augustine Severiano. Emily Cortez. Casper Grich. Rodolfo Sanchez. Mariusz Gonsior. Jan Szostek, Piotr Szostek, Samuel Stevenson, Nico Grohal, Axel Garcia Cazado, and last but not least, Xavier Diaz. And with that, I give you guys Coach Downen.
Thank you. For the record, Coach G and I are co-coaches. He's not the assistant. Just wanted to give him credit for that. So thank you to the board for recognizing our team tonight. I'd like to also thank Julia Bray for her tremendous support, and to Clarissa Sanchez, who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure our whole team made it to practices, matches, and tournaments. And of course, thank you to the parents and families. You make everything possible for these players. In my 20 years of coaching, this group stands out as one of my favorites. These players honor the game, their teammates, their opponents, and themselves. Their hard work led us to a highly successful season. In IHSA chess, there are no individual awards, and you can only qualify for state as part of a team. I'm especially proud to recognize 2 of our seniors, Casper and Peter. You guys want to step forward? Both are 4-year players who have been on 2 state qualifying teams. Watching them grow into the leaders and competitors they are today has been a highlight of my coaching career. Thank you again for celebrating our achievement tonight. Now Casper would like to address the board as well.
Good evening. My name is Casper Grich. I am a senior, and I've been on the chess team for all 4 years of my high school career. I truly love the game and the community, so thank you for recognizing our team's efforts at the state tournament. It means a lot. I'd like to thank the school for supporting us and funding our tournaments. It gives us the opportunity to compete and grow. And I also want to thank our coaches for dedicating their time twice a week to help us improve and push us to be our best. And of course, thank you to my teammates as well. While we practice together, chess is really something you have to work on individually. Everybody here puts in their own time, effort, and focus outside of practice, and that's what makes this possible. Competing at state for the second time was an amazing experience. It's not just about the competition, it's about the bond we build as a team and the moments we share along the way. Because in the end, chess isn't about what happens on the board, it's about the discipline, the growth, and the people who stand beside you. And that's something that lasts far beyond any tournament. Thank you.
Do we want to have the board come up here for a bit?
Absolutely.
That'll be easier.
I got everybody. All right. One person every
Okay, next we'd like to welcome our Special Olympic basketball players to join me.
Come on up.
Our Fenton Bison won 4th place at the Special Olympics Illinois Region C Basketball State Finals on March 13th and 14th. They qualified to state after beating Glenbard West and then York in the qualifying tournament. We are equally proud to celebrate this team for raising $2,700 for Special Olympics Illinois with their Cool Plunge fundraiser. The event involved players and staff earning the right to jump into a freezing pool, but only after reaching their individual fundraising goal. Congratulations to this great team. I'll turn it over to coaches Simon Sanchez and Emma Keel to introduce the team and share more.
Okay. My name's Emma Keel. Well, Emma Litton, I got married, but I still go by Keel sometimes. So we just wanted to say that we are beyond proud of our team this year. We started off kind of rocky, but the hard work and dedication that our players had truly was amazing, and we made it to state. So that was very excited. We're very proud to announce our players that are here with some certificates. So Michelle Cortez. Kimberly Aguilar. Sarah Gunya. And America Sanchez Solano.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Simon Sanchez, and on behalf of the Special Olympics basketball team, we want to thank the Board of Education for your continued support and recognition to these amazing athletes. We got a lot of people to thank, by the way. So we would also like to thank our parents for their dedication and support driving to for countless practices and games. We would like to thank our ADs, Pedro Rodriguez and Mark Haas, for their support. We would like to thank Kate Ward for her support this season, especially for being brave enough to brave the code and partaking in the cool school plunge last month. We would like to thank Julia Bray. She's always reaching out to see if we need anything and how she can help. She was also a huge help in our cool school plunge. We would actually also like to thank Coach Taft for his amazing support. He's always willing to help us out in anything. We would like to thank Rebecca Norris and the Interact Club for their amazing support and contribution to our Pack the Place. We would like to thank Alexa Flores and Katie Hines and all the students involved in Bison Buddies for their support throughout this season. And last but not least, our amazing peer coaches. We would like to thank Jasleen, Karen, and Alex. Thank you.
Okay, now we'd like to call up the dance force. This year, Dance Force earned 4th place at sectionals, qualifying them to IHSA state finals for the 2nd consecutive year, where they took 7th place out of over 80 teams. Simultaneously, Dance Force competed in the AAA division of the Illinois Drill Team Association State Series, taking 1st place in hip hop at both regionals and at the state finals. Dance Force is always a must-see performance during our football and basketball halftime breaks, but they also perform at assemblies, in the talent show, and at Future Freshman Night. We'll turn it over to head coaches Nicole Reyes and Catherine Radzawanski to introduce the team and share more.
Good evening, and thank you so much for recognizing Dance Force tonight. My name is Catherine Radzawanski, and along with Nicole Reyes, we are the head coaches of the dance program. This season has been incredibly special, not just because of what these athletes accomplished, but because of who they have become. They show up every single day with discipline, resilience, and a commitment to be better than they were the day before. For the majority of this team, this was their first season in our program, and for many of them, it was their first time competing in the sport of dance. To have placed 7th at IHSA State is absolutely incredible, yet it speaks more to who they are as people. It isn't just the performance or the results, it's the way that they support one another, push each other to grow, and represent our school with such integrity and heart. I am so unbelievably proud to work with a team that is so committed to achieving excellence. To our dancers, thank you for trusting us as your coaches. You've built something truly meaningful together, and that's something no score can fully capture. As coaches, our motto every year is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't want to work. I'm so proud to say that you all embody that sentiment. For context, these dancers have practiced over 500 hours in just their competitive season, not to mention the fall and summer preseasons. Thank you for never giving up on the hard days, because you know we'll never give up on you. To our dance parents and families, between being the team's enormous fan section at competitions to picking up the dancers after late night practices, we know how much time and effort you put into supporting this team, and we cannot thank you enough. And to the board and our community, thank you for supporting the arts and athletics. It truly makes a difference. Finally, to our principal, Kate Ward, and our athletic director, Pedro Rodriguez, we cannot thank you enough for the support you show our team. Your presence at our events does not go unnoticed. Thank you, everyone, for an incredible season. I will now pass it off to Coach Reyes to recognize our dancers.
Awesome. I'd love to congratulate Ava Nelson. Christina Sokolowski. Maria Asawi. Ms. Frankie Longcar. Gianna Leclerc. Evelyn Alvarez. And to our special seniors and captains, Crystal Woods. And lastly, Sky Holt. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Sky Holt, a senior, and I'm also a captain, and I just want to thank my team, my coach, the people here supporting us, and obviously our families for such an amazing season. Last year, we left at a okay spot. It was a lot better than the past seasons, past seasons that we had before, but it wasn't until this year where this team really stood up and helped us achieve so many things that we haven't thought to achieve in a really, really long time. So I just want to say thank you all again for being here and supporting us and acknowledging that we really, really, really enjoy this sport. Thank you.
Yeah, we gotta.
That's right. All right.
Please go the right way. No, not too gently. Just gently.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
Wait, or like
There we go. Anybody else? Congratulations. Good job.
Thank
All right. Last but certainly not least, let's invite our state speech qualifiers to join us for their recognition. Fenton had another strong showing at the IHSA Speech State Finals, taking 9th place overall and bringing home 3 medals. Angelina Verghese won 2nd place at state for informative speaking and also taking 2nd place at sectionals the week before.
Angelina, where are you?
There she is. All right, Arturo Hurtado Jr. won 3rd place at state for special occasion speaking and 4th place in original oratory. He was the sectional champion in both events 1 week earlier. Yep. And finally, Sebastian Botello and Lucia Sosa were state finalists for humorous duet acting. They qualified to state after taking 2nd place at sectionals. There they are. All right, great. Our performance in the round cast of Bless Me Ultima also was a state finalist. They qualified for state with a 3rd place finish at sectionals. I'll turn it over to coaches Nicole Hendricks and Melissa Feinberg to introduce the cast and to share more about the entire team. Congratulations to all the students and coaches.
Thank you so much. What a great night tonight. We've had so many celebrations. I feel so thrilled to be a part of this with everybody here. Absolutely love what our speech students are able to do in this time of 2026, being able to connect with audiences and do something that most people fear for fun has really been quite a joy. We always like to share a few statistics as well, so I always turn it over to my co-head coach, Melissa Feinberg, for statisticians, because we do not necessarily run like an athletic division. Here we go. Give the rundown.
A hand tab it all. So since 2010, Fenton Speech has qualified 54 entries to the state tournament. We have had 25 state finalists and 8 state champions. What makes Nicole and I truly proud is that this year we have 2 Fenton alumni who competed on the speech team and as a part of our group interpretation cast, Adrian Navarez and Spencer Frank joining us. Adrian Navarez for the 2nd year and Spencer Frank for the 1st. It's so special to have students that you coached help take up the helm of something that you have built. So that makes Nicole and I endlessly proud. We have so many alumni who support us on a consistent basis. This program is something that we are endlessly proud of. We really pride ourselves on it being a home for all of our kids, someplace they can always come back to, no matter where they are in life, how old they get. You know, we always want it to be home. So a few more numbers about what Angelina and Arturo specifically as state finalists have to go through. They compete against nearly 200 other speeches across the state, across 6 different sectionals. It is massive, and the judging is subjective. So it is, a judge can just, you can do the perfect job. It can be the best performance you've ever given in your life, and a judge can just go, I don't like it, 6, meaning last place. So
they gave perfect
performances at state. So it is, it's got to be a labor of love. You've got to love it. It's difficult to have your art judged in that way, but their grit and their resilience is deeply commendable. They see 23 different judges across the entire competition, regional, sectionals, and state, and they must receive top marks from all of those judges in order to get into the final round at state. It is an elite level of competition that we just are awed that they do what they do every single year. So that's a few numbers. We're endlessly proud of our students, and we will continue to be endlessly proud.
You want to invite those seniors up?
Seniors, yes. We would like to invite Sebastian Botello, 2-year member of speech, and Arturo Hurtado Jr., a 4-year member of speech. I'd like to invite them to say a few words.
My name is Sebastian Botello, and I would like to start off by thanking our coaches, Ms. Hendricks, Ms. Feinberg, Coach Neves, Coach Cavazos, who unfortunately could not be here with us today, and our wonderful Coach Frank. For those who do not know, it is his first year, and he sent 2 kids to state, which I would say, he sent 2 kids to state, which is amazing. I would also like to thank all of my teammates for making my experience extremely enjoyable throughout all the early mornings, as well as my parents for driving me to said early mornings. Lastly, I would like to thank my HDA partner, Lucia Sosa.
Yay!
Throughout this year and last, she constantly pushed me to be a better person, and some would say she carried our performance. Thank you.
I'm Arturo Hurtado Jr. First, I would like to thank my parents over there, the guy in the green and the nice lady standing next to him. I would like to thank them for all the support they give me. They show up to state. They wake up early and say goodbye to me every weekend at like 5 in the morning. And I would really like to thank my dad, who, I'm sorry about this, but I thank you for it, stayed up late every Friday ironing my clothes for me so I could look nice the next morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to thank my coaches, Coach Frank, Coach Feinberg, Coach Hendricks, Coach Cavazos, who couldn't make it, and Coach Neves. I think, as Ms. Feinberg was saying, this place really is a home for a lot of the kids here. I can say it's a home away from home for me, and I think they're the ones who make it that. And I would like to thank all my fellow competitors and teammates. I really have the best time every weekend, and I think a lot of that is thanks to them and thanks to talking after rounds and debriefing and just having the best time we can. Thank you.
One thing I do want to mention about Arturo that I forgot, he is a 3-time state finalist. That is an elite group of kids here at Fenton High School. So not many Fenton speechies, or really people in general, I think, can say that. So 3-time state finalist. Wow.
All right, now I think it's time for names.
Names.
All right, and now names. All right, first we'd like to start with the performance in the round competitors, and in no particular order, but we'll have Mia and Maya running around with certificates.
I'll do it. That's fine.
You'll run around? Okay.
It's fine.
Do you want me to go by those names?
Yeah.
All right.
Probably.
Okay, so not PIR. We're going to be starting with individual events. First up, Angelina Varghese.
Should they line up?
They should start to form a picture. Remember pictures? All right. Next up, Sebastian Botello. Next up, we have Lucia Sosa. And Arturo Hurtado Jr. And now on to performance in the round with Mia Otero Roman and Maya Otero Roman sharing certificate.
Yes.
Haley Durkowski.
I'm stuck. Okay. Thank you.
Amelia Bracco. David Aguilar Zamora. Violet Villafana. Jason Vargas. Alita Thatch. Oh, she's coming. Alonso Romero.
Just start forming a second line.
Javier Quinones Jr. Eduardo Perez. Jaden Moharo. Maria Mendoza Garcia. Noah Joaquin. And Emmanuel Flores.
Last but not least.
We missed one. We missed Jacob.
And Jacob Jordan.
And Jacob Jordan Argaliz.
What happened?
We are missing one. I'm sorry.
Jacob, hold Damaris's.
Hold Damaris's for now.
And we'll get you your certificate.
And Damaris, but she's not here right now. Picture time. We would love to take a picture with you.
Sorry, but that's right. You can cover her name. Yeah. That's good. We're the same person.
Do we need 3 rows?
Do we need 3 rows?
Rick, do you want 3 rows?
Yeah.
3 rows? Okay. A little.
Come here, Jordies. Join me, man. Oh, wait. Yeah. Oh, I'm taking it here. Yeah, that's right. Pretty hands. Me and Maya are one person.
Where do we look?
Yeah, where do we look?
Okay. Oh.
Cameron, do we have any public comments?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Our next item is informational. Sam?
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to go through a few informational items this evening. One is a certified staffing plan, and then we're also going to take a look at some cost reduction strategies that we've been taking a look at. And then we'll have a presentation by Bob Lewis after that, and then a FOIA. So let's go ahead and get started with the certified staffing plan. Now, as you can see, there's a chart on the screen. This is pretty much the same chart that we use every year in March, right around this time. So when we say certified staffing plan, we're basically the generic term of the teachers, okay? So this is what our staffing will look like for the 26-27 school year. We're going to have Kate kind of go through it in detail, but to start with, you'll see the second row from the bottom, it says total. And if you look at last year's compared to this year's, we're down about 4.8 certified staff overall, so just under 5 people. And if you look at that row going across, going back 5 years ago, you could see from the staffing, we're down about 10 people for where we were 5 years ago. So obviously, you know, there's reasons for that. One of the reasons that we're gonna highlight is declining enrollment. So you could see that's actually in the bottom column where it shows the enrollment projections. Now again, these are projections at the time when we are looking to do the staffing plan. They're just projections. They're not necessarily going to hold 100%. So just keep that in mind. You can see over time there has been some decline in enrollment, even going into this school year. Later on, we'll take a closer look at that when we look at some of the cost savings that we're looking to have. But just to give you an idea, currently our student count is at 1338, and you can see it was projected to be 1393 at this point last year in that column. So again, these are projections, but the trend is kind of unmistakable as we're looking at this year at about 1312 as far as the number of students that we've registered for this upcoming year. So again, we do this every year. Decline in enrollment is not unique to our community. I mean, it's pretty much in most communities around us and even different parts of the country. So it gives us an opportunity to try to recoup some staffing, and that's sort of what part of the story as far as what goes into this. So with that intro, I'd like to turn over to Kate as she's going to go over some more specifics.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I'm just going to go over some trends and explain some, because some areas we can see some reduction, other areas it seems a little flat. So we've been looking at these numbers a lot, and one of the biggest things that we notice is this year's current freshmen and then the incoming 8th graders. So next year's 9th and 10th graders are the smallest classes we've had. So what we can see is that in classes, in departments that are primarily taken by our freshmen and sophomore, that's where we're seeing the reductions this year. So world language, right? A lot of kids come in and take Spanish 1, French 1. English, all kids take PE, right? Particularly PE, kids take health, and then they take driver's ed their sophomore year. And so that's really where we're seeing the decrease. These decreases will roll up. So some of the elective areas, which is where kids take them mostly junior and senior year, as these classes move up, so that's why we see some of the uneven numbers. One of the things that jumps out a little bit as perhaps strange is our decrease in English language learner teachers, and there's a couple of reasons for that. We know that our number of English language learners at Fenton is still increasing. What's changed is the type of English language learners we have. So if you remember 5 or 6 years ago, we had a lot of newcomers that were coming in, and so those students required bilingual education or classes taught to them in Spanish. What we've seen since COVID, and more recently this year, a lot of those students are no longer at Fenton. So the students that we're servicing are lifelong ELs. They're students who maybe were born here and speak Spanish at home, maybe students who came here first, second, third grade, and they speak pretty good English, like you might not actually know, but they need different levels of support. So most of those students receive EL services through their mainstream classes. The other thing that's happened is we have a lot of teachers at Fenton who have gotten their EL certs, so it's not just EL teachers, but they're English teachers and science teachers who are also servicing these students. So that might be something that you might look at and be like, wait a second, I thought we said that population is going up. It is, but that's where that trend comes in. Another one is special education. Even though our enrollment is going down next year, based on our students that are enrolled right now, we will have 4 more total students that require special education services at Fenton next year. So that percentage of special education students is going up. Mathematics kind of stands out. Again, if we're seeing like English go down and science, we've seen a decrease in science, but math has stayed fairly stable. The reason for that is after the pandemic, we know that our students were really struggling with math. So we put a lot of support classes in place. So things you've heard me talk about like academic math lit, Bison Blue. We also have put in computer science classes, which fall into mathematics. So that's why math looks relatively stable. Without those additional support classes in computer science, it would look the same as English. So those are just a couple things that stand out. But really, when we look at last year, school year 26, we lost teachers in English and science, and then this year we're decreasing staffing in English, ELL, PE, student services, and world languages. So those are the trends we see, and like I said, other departments will likely see this decline as the students get older.
So any questions about the certified staffing plan? This is just informational right now, but we will ask for action to approve that staffing plan later in the meeting.
I'll save my comments for the vote.
Okay. All right, let's keep moving. So cost reduction strategy. What I wanted to present here tonight is basically so the board understands that, we're cognizant of our financial projections and we're looking at areas on where we can reduce more of a holistic approach. We know it's not just going to be staff members. We know that we have to look at kind of every aspect of the organization. So to start off tonight, it's going to be sort of a high-level view. There's not going to be a ton of detail. But, a few examples just to kind of give you an idea of the kind of discussions that we're having administratively. And secondly, it's also a phased-in approach. So this is really, as you can see, every year we've tried to be fiscally responsible. But this year, we're really trying to reduce costs leading into next year's budget. But it's not a one-time deal here. It's going to be phased in over time. The team understands that, and then that's the best approach. And then finally, what we're going to try to do over time, not just for next year or moving forward, is how do we right-size the organization? If you think about it, when we had COVID, we had extra funds coming in, and the ESSER funds, and then we were applying those funds to a variety of interventions, right? Because that's what was needed. Now that that funding stream is done, and we're trying to get back to normalcy when it comes to that, but now we have declining enrollment. So what are we really going to focus on? Where is that sweet spot for where we should be at as an organization? So that's what we're working through right now, sort of a transition right now when it comes to that. So like I said earlier, so this is the declining enrollment. These are all projections. So they are projections based on at the time when we were doing the staffing. So you can see last year, like I said, 1393. That was sort of our baseline. We're currently at 1338, so we're lower than that. Of course, if you think about it, some of that is early graduates, and then sometimes some kids don't, they register, they don't necessarily enroll, they move or whatever. Other years, sometimes we actually get more kids coming in than we expected, just depending on what's going on, and Kate was talking about that. But the trend is unmistakable. You can see we're looking at about 13, 12 next year. If it is below that, and then you're starting to get into the 1200s. And then 29, 30, 30, 31, it's kind of a slight increase, but not statistically significant. But that's sort of what we're looking at in upcoming years here. Next slide. Okay, so when we talk about staffing reductions, what I want to emphasize with the certified staffing plan, we took advantage, based our strategies to take advantage of two situations. One is attrition, so we had 2 people that were retiring that we didn't necessarily have to fill their positions. And also we have non-tenured, non-renewals that we took a look at. This type of strategy is not uncommon. In fact, a lot of school districts across DuPage County have been doing the same thing as far as looking at, where you could be the least disruptive, but then still incur savings along the line. So that's been our approach here this year with this staffing plan. We are also looking at all employee groups. So we're looking at the administrative team, we're looking at our support staff, we're looking at our at-will staff. So we're seeing, what are we doing? Obviously, there's some decline in enrollment. There's still responsibilities that need to be covered, but we are taking a look at all those employee groups. The reason we do the certified plan is there's certain guidelines. You need to get these things done by a certain time. Some of those other employee groups, we're going to be taking a look at in the next month or so, and there's a different timeline when it comes to that. So that's what we're looking at with staffing. We're revisiting our funding sources. You'll hear from Bob Lewis here in a little bit that we're looking to amend the life safety audit. That's a way to bring in money to work on areas of the building that are certainly dilapidated and need some attention. The other thing that we've been talking about that we think will provide savings when the budget is created is we can do capital improvements out of Fund 60. If you remember, Fund 60 is where we have the approximately $5 million. That is there, it's gaining interest, but we can also use it, like let's say we need a Bobcat, or let's say we need some sort of capital here for the school. Rather than budget for let's say $300,000 worth of capital improvement, we can take that money out of that fund, and then when we need it, or maybe it's something unexpected that we need to take care of, that can certainly happen and usually does happen. So that's one strategy we're looking at. The other area it's actually kind of new I wanted to share with the board, but it came out of our meetings with, we met with Rob Grossi. We actually talked to the bond manager, and actually one of the areas that we're going to explore is when you make the debt certificate payment, pretty much every year, you can take some of the funds out of that Fund 60 or out of the $5 million, and make a partial payment or make some sort of a payment to sort of pay that down also for the year. So that's another option as we try to do our due diligence as far as how can we recoup savings that we can do. Now, obviously, we're also looking at some potential projects down the line to take a look at, so we haven't necessarily settled on that, but I wanted the board to know, what our options are and what we're considering. So we're looking at the different funding sources. We're also looking at operational efficiencies. An example of that is technology, right? We have a lot of different programs, software programs that we use here at the school. Brittany does an outstanding job of keeping track of these programs, when they're due, and we have ways to track, like how often are we really using these programs. Sometimes there's some redundancy. Sometimes we just realize, hey, maybe we don't need this anymore. An example of that is we have a strategic plan dashboard that we invested in a few years ago. Now, I'm not saying we don't need the strategic plan. We need that. But what we maybe don't need is a few $1,000s to have it in a certain format. So that's probably an area that we're going to do away with. But again, we're just trying to see where we can recoup savings, and that's the rec rep. So that's one example. We're also looking at non-essential services. A non-essential service is something where, it doesn't necessarily go to teaching or educational purposes in the classroom. So, for example, that's like extracurriculars and clubs and activities. It's not like we need to cut anything, but there could be some ways that we can become more efficient. You see here that we have a lot of programs. We want to continue that, but that's just an example of a non-essential services that we've got to take a look at. We're also looking at potential shared services between districts. We do that already, some with transportation, like we share bus drivers with District 2, like if they're short or we're short, and that's worked well over the years. But actually, the CSBOs met for the 3 districts a month or so ago, and we're talking about some ways where maybe we could work together that would benefit everyone. And then tomorrow I have a meeting with the other 2 superintendents as sort of a follow-up to that meeting. So not sure exactly where that's going to lead. I mean, we're not necessarily just going to change all of our start times to save in transportation, right? But there could be some ways that we can work together. The schools take field trips and different things like that, so we can look at how we can work together. Also, we're just looking at, sorry for my pause over there. Take a breath. We're going to review expenses such as field trips, travel, food. We all know field trips are important in the educational system, but a little more scrutiny is probably in order just to see, where are we going. It is an expense because it involves transportation, and we know that those costs are escalating. So it's just another area where we can take a look at. Okay, other efficiencies, so we're looking at our grants. As we've kind of explained before, it's kind of unpredictable, but we do know that some grants are going away. A state grant here, the Stronger Connections grant, actually is going away. So what does that mean? Well, it means like the mental health services that we were partnering in with outside agencies, unfortunately, that's probably going to go by the wayside. We also funded a flock, which we've had some conversations on, basically the license plate reader that's on different parts of the building. We think that that's probably run its course. We haven't actually got much information out of it, fortunately, that we've had to really share, but that's something that was grant funded that we're looking to move away from. We're also looking to move away from Be Sure Consulting, which was what Rich was stocking, and he helped us through different investigations if we needed to pop up, if we needed to do some internet probing or something like that. A great service, but again, we're trying to be smarter about how we use our funds. And we were actually building new connections. Like I know John introduced us to someone who works for the FBI that actually is in crisis planning. We met with the other day. So as we find different people out there that we can collaborate with if needed, these annual fees that we're using, we think we can be more targeted when it comes to that. So that's just a couple of examples. We're looking at other programming, but it just to give you an idea. Also, Rich Watts is looking to try to get a grant through the Village of Addison. Maybe not as much as we had through the Stronger Connections, but it could supplement some of those mental health services that we thought were valuable. Specialized learning services, we've looked at that when Doug was doing his presentations. Obviously, it's getting more and more expensive to educate some of our more vulnerable populations, and so we need to take a look at that. What we're trying to do is bring as many students back into the building as we can, and we've already done that this year, whether it be students with IEPs or a regular ed student that's have some behavioral issues. We're finding ways to service them back in the building without sacrificing either their education or safety within the building. So we're looking to do that where we can. We're also looking at programs like TCD. Great program. We have a lot of kids that go there, but we have to look at what are we doing in the future there, how many kids are going to go there. And then, of course, work-based learning, which we've learned about. Our internship programs, where we have kids going to internships, which is a great program, but not all of our students can drive themselves. So that means a bus driver. That means we have to transport someone that has a CDL license, and they're not exactly walking around looking for employment. So these are all things that we have to consider, and without sacrificing some of these programs, see what we can come up with. We're also looking at the department budgets. How much can we save if we cut 3%, if we cut 5% of the department budgets? There's probably ways we can do that collectively, not just one area, but across the board, and that's a good way to recoup some savings. And I think there's ways we can rethink how we do things and probably absorb that. So those are some other areas we're looking at. So in a nutshell, what are we doing? We're going to continue to identify areas as a district that we can work on make sure that these financial projections are basically flattened out so we have more time to make adjustments. And then obviously Doug's always gearing toward developing the budget, which will probably be sometime in July, maybe June. Let's see how that all shakes out, but that's typically the time of year where that 26-27 budget is being created. So we're building towards that. So we identify, plan, and align our system. That's what we're doing. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Reed.
I'm glad to see these things are getting a deep look.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Robert Lewis, you still there? Yep. Did you go to state for anything, or no? Okay, you're not a recognition. Anyway, Bob's going to come forward and go through the life safety bond presentation. Thanks, Bob.
Well, thank you for having me here tonight, and congratulations on all the success of your students. That was quite remarkable. It's one of my favorite parts of having to come to these meetings. Some of the really good ones is where they had the band play, and you have music kind of setting the mood for the meeting. So So tonight's goal is to just give you an overview of how school funding works when it comes to raising capital funds, and then to look at how the law changed in June of 2024, which creates a new funding mechanism for certain school districts that didn't have it before. And then lastly, look at some specific scenarios which may apply to you if the board decides to move in that direction. Okay, so just to start with an overview, and this all comes from authorization in the school code. School districts can issue what are called general obligation bonds. All types of units of government issue general obligation bonds. General obligation just means it's paid from a separate property tax levy. And you have bonds that are authorized via referendum for much larger scale projects. You currently do not have any bonds authorized via referendum. And then you have non-referendum bonds, GO bonds, that you are able to issue under various types of authority in the school code. You have some of those outstanding, and we'll talk about those in a moment here. And then you have other borrowing mechanisms that are not paid from a separate property tax levy, which include capital leases, which are for like buses or technology, debt certificates, which you have those outstanding, which were just talked about by Dr. Benson. And those are not paid from a separate levy. They're paid from within your operating funds. So, how does the tax cap impact your ability to do non-referendum bonds? So when tax caps came about in the early 1990s, in 1994, the original law was amended to create something called the debt service extension base. And that was a concept that would limit the annual payment that could be extended in taxes to pay back your non-referendum bonds. And it was equal to whatever you were levying for in 1994. Logically, it'd be tied to like the size of the district's tax base budget or something like that, but it's not. It's just arbitrary calculation. And that was tied to CPI a decade and a half ago or so. So that now has increased to about $1 million. So that limits your annual levy on your non-referendum, certain types of non-referendum bonds to be no more than $1 million, but that will keep going up every year by CPI. The types of non-referendum bonds that you can issue under the school code that would apply to this debt service extension base are called working cash bonds. And debt service extension base is not universal to school districts. It applies to park districts, community colleges, non-home rule cities and villages if you're in a tax cap county. So every type of entity has to look to your authorizing statute to see, well, what can you do now that you have a D7? In the case of a school district, is a working cash bond. And your 2015 and 2016 bonds were working cash bonds, or are working cash bonds. In order to issue those, you had to conduct a bond hearing, and you had to go through a 30-day petition period where the Board of Education passed a resolution that was published in the paper that said you're going to issue bonds not to exceed X, and in 30 days, if 10% or more of the registered voters signed a petition, then that working cash bond would have had to go to referendum. So what changed? So another type of non-referendum bond that school districts can do are called life safety bonds. And most of the time schools would do working cash bonds because you could spend the proceeds of a working cash bond on any type of capital project, whether it was life safety or not. So why bother doing a life safety bond, which is more restricted on how it's used? So you seldom saw them issued, or seldom seen them issued in tax cap counties. I had clients in non-tax cap counties where we did life safety bonds all the time because the DSEB isn't a concept they deal with there. The argument was made at General Assembly by some that the life safety survey is a step that every school district is required to do in the state, regardless of what type of county you're in. And then you analyze your buildings and it determines needs that you need to do. And once the state reviews those needs and issues a report back to you, you have to do those improvements. So in some sense, they're like an unfunded mandate. They've told you to do this work, but for some school districts, they wouldn't be able to fund them. If you're in a tax cap county, if you didn't have a DSEB, or maybe you had a DSEB, but you'd utilize it for another financing, your only choice then to do the life safety improvements for operating funds or referendum. So they were sensitive to that argument, if you will, but they also didn't want to give school districts a blank check, and in essence, they didn't, because Ultimately, you can't decide on your own to go out and sell $50 million of life safety bonds because you want to get $50 million worth and just start spending it on the high school. The state authorizes the life safety approval, so if you get a $10 million life safety approval from the state, that's the maximum amount you can issue. So the state has some say through ISB's review of how much you can actually do. So they weren't giving school districts a blank check when they made this change. So life safety bonds, the other thing is life safety bonds do count against your statutory debt limit. Think of your debt limit as your credit card limit. So it limits the amount of principal you can have outstanding. It's not a limit on the annual payment like the DSEB is. Well, the way that that's calculated, question?
Who came up with the 92 million? Where does that come from?
That's what I was getting ready to say. So good question. So for your district, as a high school district, it's 6.9% of your equalized assessed value, less whatever debt you have already outstanding. So when you do that calculation, it comes out to about $92 million. And life safety bonds do not require a 30-day petition process like the working cash bonds do. They do require a hearing. The hearing is like the budget hearing that you do each year. It just gives an opportunity for the public to come out and testify about that one specific item. And as I've already mentioned, you do have to have life safety approvals in order to issue these bonds.
Is this one of these things you post in the paper and then see who shows up?
Yeah. Just like your budget hearing, or if you do a tax levy hearing, if you do truth in taxation, it's the same type of thing.
Hey, Reed, could you talk into your mic?
Oh. All right, well, you heard my question, though.
Yes, I heard your question.
Okay.
But most of the hearings that I attend, they last a few minutes and that's it. Seldom anybody wants to come up and speak. That said, I was at one 2 weeks ago. It lasts 45 minutes. So that doesn't. I can count on one hand the number of times that's happened to me. So what are some typical life safety improvements? Parking lots, paving, concrete repair. For some of those things, you have to do a separate hearing. Like if you want to do sidewalks, you have to do a hearing if you're going to do life safety for sidewalks. It's just written into the life safety code. Secure entrances, HVAC, mechanical equipment, the removal of asbestos. That one, keep in mind, I'm not an expert on these items. So one of the questions I got one time was, well, if our tiles are fine and they're asbestos tiles and nothing's happening now, can we use life safety to remove them? And I don't know the answer to that question. It may be that they have to be in a certain condition in order to issue life safety to remove them. That'd be more of a question for your construction team. Building envelope like roofs, windows, intercom, safety. So this isn't meant to be an exhaustive list, but it captures a lot of things that would qualify for life safety improvements. So we did some sample analysis for you, looking at various amounts, and we used current market interest rates plus 0.5%, and that's always going to fluctuate. Interest rates have been particularly volatile this last month. You probably know why. Scenario amounts that we ran were for $5, $10, $15, and $20 million. And one strategy that has been utilized for some of the plans of finance we've worked on is to stair-step the increase in the bond levy over a period of years. And I'll show you what I mean by that graphically here in a moment. And then for each of the scenarios, we assume a 10-year payback. And I think that's the ideal if a school district decides to use life safety bonds, because you're required to do a life safety survey every 10 years. So ideally, the bonds would be maturing the next time you need to do your life safety survey. So at that time, it'd be more, hopefully not an increase, you're keeping the payment the same, versus issuing bonds for the first time, there's going to be an increase if you choose to use them. So one graph as a sample, so you can see the stair step there. So this is just showing your GO bonds. This is not the debt certificates because there's not a separate levy for them. So the blue columns represent the annual levy for your non-referendum GO bonds issued in 2015 and 16. The red line represents the debt service extension base. That only applies to the blue. We're showing everything together here in this scenario, but the red line doesn't apply to the green. The green would be the hypothetical life safety borrowing. But we've captured all the elements here in one graph. So you can see at the beginning how we stair-step the payments up so that the impact of the taxpayer is phased in over time instead of having one increase. That's one of the nice things about bonds. Like whenever I present about bonds, I like to make analogies to what we know as households, car payments, mortgages. Well, when you enter into a mortgage, your payment is what it is in the first month, which is the same as it is in the 360th month if you did a 30-year mortgage. With bonds, municipal bonds, we have the ability to determine the increase in the payment and the path that we want to take. So the ideal here again would be you're taking small steps to get to the amount of annual payment that you need then to pay back that bond over the period of 10 years. And this is for the $10 million scenario. So let me back up to the summary then. Oops, wrong. How do I go backwards? Hold this button. So here you can see we did amounts of 5, 10, 15, and 20 years for a period of 10 years. And then the second line is the amount of debt service. Debt service is the principal and interest that you pay back, which is another advantage of doing a 10-year period. Not only would the bonds be maturing the next time your life safety survey would come up, you minimize the amount of interest you pay back. Anytime you can be a ratio less than 1.5% of payback, you're doing really well. And then the average annual payment, so like once you get to the peak, that's what the payment would be for years, so that'd be additive to your current bond levy. In the first year, for the $5 million scenario, the bond and interest tax rate would go up by a couple cents, and you can see for 10 it's 4, then it's 6, and then logically 20 would be 8 cents. And so then what's the impact to the median home? And your median home, according to the American Community Survey, is right around $300,000. The American Community Survey is a data set that was produced by the U.S. Census Bureau. Oftentimes you use $300,000 as our sample, so it worked out rather conveniently. It's about the same thing. So a little bit of explanation on the data you're seeing there. So if I focus on the $5 million column, the first year impact, so for that first stair step, it'd be $18. And the next one is 28. That's another $28 increase. That's a $10 increase over the prior year. So cumulatively now it's 28. And then next year goes up another $10 to get to 38 cumulatively. And then so the cumulative 3-year impact is 84. If I had to do this chart over right now, I'd probably word that a little bit differently. But you can see then, so it's 18 the first year, 10 more the next year, and 10 more again the next year, and so on and so forth. If you do the $15 million scenario, 54 the first year, 30 more the second year, and then another 30 the next year. So when you get to the third year, it's $114 more than it was if you had not done the life safety bonds on that median home. Is everybody clear on that impact? Okay.
Question.
Sure.
So over a 10-year span, a $5 million life safety bond, the net debt service exceeds the amount of the bond.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, it's just like with your home mortgage, obviously if you do a 30-year loan in today's market, you probably pay back what you borrowed, or twice as much of what you borrowed. And then, and oftentimes, well, here you're creating a funding source you couldn't otherwise have. But this, there's a discussion comes up, should we just save and do pay-as-you-go and avoid interest? But you also have to keep in mind the project that you're waiting to build, that you're paying back over, or that you're doing over time, is costing more each year that you wait. So one of the things about doing the bonding is it helps to offset the potential for future construction cost inflation versus a pay-as-you-go scenario. Yes?
29, 30, 31, how does that dollar amount?
Yeah, so also, and by the way, levy year would be taxes collected in the following year. So Illinois is confusing on that. So levy year 26 would mean this would impact 27 tax bills. So if you use the $5 million scenario, when you get to year 4, it's going to be $38 higher than it would have otherwise been. And it will stay at $38. There'll be no more stair steps once you get to there. So the ideal is this sort of feathers into what your overall increase would be from the CPI on the operating side. So here's a sample timeline should the district decide to proceed down this path. It's not a recommendation, it's just meant to be a sample so you can see how it could proceed. So the board tonight is being asked to amend the current health life safety survey. And then the firm that would do that would probably need a couple months to review the high school building and then submit that data ultimately to your ROE and then ISB. They would likely need a couple months to do that review, maybe 3. It just depends on the extent of what you're asking, how busy they are. They literally have one main person down there reviewing all these. And so we're anticipating that that would complete around August. Now, you don't have to wait for the results to come back for approval in order to conduct the hearing. So for example, let's say you submit $15 million. There's a distinct possibility that ISB may approve $12 million. You know, there's some things that they may disallow. Well, you can do the hearing at $15 million based off what you submit, because they're not going to give you more than you asked for, and that sets a not to exceed amount on the hearing. You can always do less, you can't do more. And then the board, the next possible, so the board does the hearing, and the board passes a resolution to sell bonds. The earliest that could probably be would be August 26th, or if ISB's not done by then, it'd be September 23rd. And the bonds could be sold then within a few days, a few weeks after that, depending on market conditions, in either September or October, and then you'd have the proceeds in October or November at the earliest. This may not be the pace that you want to do, depending on the pace of construction and other goals that you might have in mind, but we're just trying to, again, give you an idea how the process could work. So that's the sum of the presentation. We do have detailed schedules in the appendix. Here's your debt certificates, and then I have the detailed graphs for the 5, 10, 15, and $20 million scenarios. So I will stop now and entertain any additional questions that you might have.
I have a few. Who do you represent?
I represent PMA Securities.
PMA Securities, is that a broker-dealer for bonds?
We're a municipal advisor. We don't underwrite or buy the bonds. We simply advise. We have a fiduciary duty in how we represent our clients to look out for their best interests.
I see. And who invited you to attend the meeting tonight?
The administration. Any other questions?
Well, just a comment, mostly. I'm interested in this kind of funding, and I'm inclined to support it for what that's worth, but for a couple of reasons. First of all, I understand we've got some place between $4 and $5 million of roof work, the numbers that I've heard, and I'm not a roof guy, so I can't attest to it. But having a roof that doesn't leak seems pretty important to me. And the other thing is, with some of the resources that Dr. Wiltz has to do this, every dollar can be put to work. I understand in our past projects that the architect has taken 10% off the top. And in this case, I'm under the impression that every dollar can be put to work. And I think that's important.
I'll follow up with one last question for you. So you mentioned that your firm's not a broker-dealer.
No, I didn't say, we don't underwrite. The firm is a broker-dealer for investment purposes. My colleagues that do investments. We choose not to underwrite any bonds. We solely act as a municipal advisor in that space.
But your firm will profit if we were to take on these bonds?
We get a fee as the municipal advisor.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Jose?
Yes, sorry. So we only have one FOIA for this month. It was from Smart Procure. They requested any and all purchasing records from December 4th, 2025 until March 6th, 2026, and that has been resolved. Thank you.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
All right. The next item is consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? In a second.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call.
I thought you were seconding.
Brzezinski.
Yes.
Figueroa.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
McCullough.
Yes.
Goodrich.
Abstain.
Lewis.
Yes. Motion passed. Next item is notice of non-renewals and dismissals. May I have a motion that the Board of Education adopt the resolutions and notices of non-renewal and dismissal / honorable dismissal as presented?
Yes, one person.
Second.
You need a motion, right?
That's good.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, the board material doesn't disclose anything about the rationale as to why these individuals are being dismissed. Do we know why these dismissals are occurring?
That's correct. They're non-renewals.
Non-renewals,
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Roll call.
Figueroa.
Yes.
Brzezinski.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Goodrich.
Yes.
McCullough.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is certified staffing plan for 2026-27 school year. May I have a motion that the Board of Education adopt the staffing plan for the 2026-2027 school year as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
We have a serious financial future ahead of us. I haven't heard anything this evening or seen anything in the board packet other than additional expenditures that I think are probably luxury items at this point, unfortunately. I don't think that, I'm fearful and concerned that there will be an appetite from the board for a referendum in order to try to overcome the challenges that we face in the future. I don't know that, I'm just hypothesizing. I don't see that as an option. We as taxpayers are exhausted. I heard tonight a presentation for a life safety bond from one firm who I affirmed will in fact profit. So they're incentivized to be here in an attempt to broker bonds on our behalf, or to at least advise us to do so. Those bonds carry with them significant debt service. We need to be more aggressive in finding opportunities to save our dollars, not spend them, and not ask the taxpayer for more contributions. This plan needs to be much deeper, have much more opportunities for savings. I pleaded with this Board of Education during the superintendency search to explore the possibility of a shared superintendency in an effort to save money and to be strategic and to be a partner with other districts in our area. That didn't gain much traction. I don't think that HYA helped us much in that endeavor, and I also don't think that the board really investigated what that meant, my opinions. I don't think this can't be supported because we have to be thinking more forward. And we're failing to do that. So we've got to come up with ways to avoid a referendum. We've got to come up with ways to start saving now so that we'll have some opportunity to continue to come out of this in the future. But right now, we have a deficit ahead of us that forecasted that's not a positive thing.
Okay, all right. If you're, okay. I was looking for my staffing sheet here, but I'll just work from memory. While there's a net reduction of, for the sake of conversation, I think it's 5 people.
Yeah, just under 5, yes.
Okay. Nevertheless, I just did a rough calculation and said, well, what is our student to teacher ratio, just for fun? And it turns out over the years, prior years, it's always remained right around 1 teacher to 13 students. Okay. Now that mushes everything together, the social studies and the math and whatever. But I had hoped that the staffing plan would actually, how can I say, have a net gain, that perhaps this year we could have wound up with 1 teacher for 15 students. My limited educational knowledge at this point leaves me thinking that 1 teacher to 13 students is kind of rich. Now, I understand, I've already had the conversation that some things can't happen right away. And I understand, some of that anyway. But ultimately, the question becomes, at least to me, whether the staffing reductions or some of these other things that you're going to take a look at, and I don't know how soon they can be implemented, is really enough to mitigate and cover what right now is forecast as an upcoming, deficit, or whether this, or whether we're because otherwise I'm afraid we're not really gaining ground on the deficit issue. Now, I don't have all the numbers. I guess this to some degree is going to be closer to something that Dr. Wilds could take a look at, but that's my main concern with the staffing. I'm glad we've gotten this far. I don't want to seem unhappy with that, but I have to ask the question of, is there perhaps something else we can put on the table?
Reed, I'd like to comment to that too. I think your points are very valid. I also think that things are significant enough that we need to be considering additional steps. I am certainly a friend of teachers in the work that I do and in the passions that I have and my appreciation of the work that teachers do. We are in a difficult situation, and it will impact teaching, it will impact administration. I maintain that I also think that things may be significant enough in the future that we need to look at the possibility of partnering with the FEA to reopen the CBA, to explore opportunities to get out of the future challenges that we'll face according to our financial forecasts. Additional steps need to be on the docket or to be explored in order to find a way out of this that doesn't burden the taxpayer. The taxpayer is contributing significantly to our school systems as is. We're very grateful for that. But to continue to go to the taxpayer at a time in which we're all exhausted is not a positive, will not yield a positive outcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
McCullough,
No.
Goodrich,
No.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes. Motion passed. Next item is to pursue an amendment to the current health life safety survey on file with ISPE. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approves the district to hire a design professional licensed in the state of Illinois to amend the Health for Life Safety Survey conducted in 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Yes, that motion. Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. We're about to enter a time of significant financial challenges. And through this, we're taking on more debt. And you heard me ask the question tonight for clarification so everyone could hear it. The amount of debt service that will be paid on this will be more than the grant, or more than the bond, I should say. We're not thinking about ways to recapture funds. We're thinking about ways to extend the debt service that we pay. That is a horrible mistake.
Roll call.
Goodrich,
Abstain.
McCullough,
No.
Miller,
Abstain.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passed. Next item is network infrastructure purchase for the fiscal year 2026. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approves the fiscal year 2026 purchase of Cisco Catalyst switches and support subscriptions for a total of $189,382, with 85% of the cost expected to be reimbursed through the E-rate program in fiscal year 2027.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, just a comment. Is this the new computers, the laptops and stuff?
Yes.
This is network.
That's not.
This is the network.
Books are next.
Brittany's.
She's coming to explain.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are network switches for the network closets throughout the building. So we last refreshed them in spring 2020 or 2017. So it's time to refresh them. So those will be installed throughout the summer. And so once we complete those, you get the reimbursement rate in the spring.
Well, the reimbursement's totally okay.
Yeah, I figured.
All right. But is this, faster, better, more secure?
Absolutely, and that's why it's important we stick to the refresh cycle to make sure that our network is secure, that we have the support for the current models so that, our infrastructure's
Just quickly.
Yes.
Because these are routers and stuff like that too, right?
I'm sorry?
These are routers and stuff like that?
In a sense, yeah, at a larger scale.
Network E-rates. All right, well, I'll tell you what.
Yes.
I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.
What is the risk if we fall behind with keeping these types of systems up?
Well,
is it a security issue?
Oh, 100%, yeah. And technology is constantly evolving, and especially when we talk about cybersecurity, making sure our switches, our firewall are all up to date is critical. Yeah. So it's due, lifespan anywhere 7 to 10 years, so we're well within the range to get them updated. And E-rate has facilitated that the last refresh, and will do so again if it gets approved.
Well, just from a pedestrian point of view, I seem to hear a lot about people being hacked. So, I'm clearly not up to speed on all that, other than the fact that anything we can do to prevent it is good.
100%, yeah. And keeping our equipment up to date and refreshed when it needs to be is important to do that.
Okay.
Roll call.
Isn't there an opportunity for discussion?
What?
An emotion?
That's what we already made the motion.
We seconded.
That was the discussion.
So there's an opportunity for discussion then?
That's what, yeah.
So this is something we need, but we don't have the funds looking forward. And I realize this is 85% reimbursement rate, but it's still an expenditure. I can't support spending funds until we have a detailed strategic plan to balance our spending. And I just say to, frankly, everyone who continues to vote in favor of spending more and more money without that kind of foresight and information, shame on all of us.
I've heard that statement. You guys, we're expressing that over and over about being responsible with the resources we have, we being trusted with. But correct me if I'm wrong. We've had over 10 years where our budgets has been in the black, 10 plus years. So we've been responsible, this board, this administrative staff, the previous administrative staff has been very responsible. And I think we can be more mindful of our expressed concern because it's not acknowledging the years upon years of great work that's been done here to keep us in the black for that long. It's not acknowledging that. And the projection was given some months back about decreased funds coming in. That's what the concern is about funding, our lack of funds going forward. Not about us being in the red, constantly over budget year after year. The sky's falling. That hasn't been the case. And measures, they've explained earlier today about what measures they're going to take, or just the overall structure of how to stay ahead of that. That was what presented today. It's been discussed multiple times previously. So not only this board, but previous board have been responsible. That needs to be acknowledged and not just kick dirt on.
Can we see the financial forecast?
We've done that. We've done that multiple times.
I'm asking,
but not here, because
okay, so
that would be another time.
Okay.
But we can do that again, but not today. But we can do that another time.
Well, I agree. We are in a financial difficulty right now. We still have to do the business of the district. We still have to maintain repairs. We still have to upgrade our equipment, because the cost if we don't and we get hacked and this stuff crashes and we got to buy it without the 85% reimbursement, when we have parents and teachers and students saying you expose my personal data, I'm sorry, this is the cost of doing business. We have to run the school district while we look at the big picture. I believe we're starting to look at the big picture, but we still have to have day-to-day business. This is day-to-day business. This needs to be replaced. I understand we're looking at everything, but there are certain things we have to do to run this district. This is a budgeted item. The budget was approved. This is what we got to do. That's what some of these expenses are going to be. We brought the staffing plan down. We're looking at different options. We still have to run this district, and we have to pay our bills. We have to maintain what we have, and we have to move forward. And this is what we're doing. We're not buying new stuff. We're not upgrading. Well, we're replacing. We're upgrading, yes, but it's not like we're adding 20 new switches and 16 more of these. We're just maintaining status quo with the latest equipment available today. We're within that replacement window. This is the cost of doing business. We have to operate. So that's my 2 cents on this. We're going to look at the big picture. There's going to be a lot of discussions in the next couple of months. We'll address this as best we can. And we got to do business. We got to do day-to-day business, and this is day-to-day business. And it's my feelings on that. And I'm willing to call a vote at this point.
You don't call a vote.
Well, you're right, whatever.
Roll call.
Beat this up. Let's move on.
Roll call.
The question.
Brzezinski?
Yes.
Figueroa?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
McCullough?
No.
Lewis?
Yes, motion passed. The next item is Chromebook purchase for the fiscal year 2026 school year. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the fiscal year 2026 purchase of 310 Lenovo 500E Gen 4S Chromebook computers for the class of 2030 from Vivacity Tech for the amount of $149,035, of which $60,936 of Title I funds will be used.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Are there computers available for students without this purchase?
Not enough. We have a small fleet that we end up getting returned from us from graduating students, but it's about 50% of the class. And at that point, those Chromebooks are over 4 years old and you're starting to approach end of life. You really can get maybe one more useful year out of those. And I don't know if I would give that to a student for long-term daily use. They're great for loaners when the kids don't have them, and they're good for use cases like state testing, but for their day-to-day, you want something that's current, that's going to continue to get software, OS upgrades. So we really don't have a robust fleet after the fact.
Thank you. So you continue to use them as substitutes, they don't go in the recycle?
Oh, yeah, like I said at the last meeting, we use them until they don't turn on anymore. So we've got about 50 of them that we keep aside for testing. It's really great because we want all those kids to have Chromebooks when come ACT. But like I said, they're not great for giving a student new to the district to use for day-to-day classwork.
I got one last question. So the net at the moment for us is 100,000?
I'm sorry, the network?
In accounting net, that the net to us is 100,000.
You talking about?
Oh, with the Title I's
With
being
Title I
used?
funds?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just under.
About 90.
90 something.
So can you find any more money?
Well, I can give you a comparison. Last year's, our total, we did buy 25 more devices to account for the class size, but it was $167,000. So we were able to cut that quite a bit. Yes, less devices. The other thing we did was we opted for a third-party vendor warranty versus an OEM Lenovo, which saved us. So last year we were looking at $495 a Chromebook. That included the warranty. That included you have to have the Chrome licensing in order for it to be used. This year for this batch is $475 a Chromebook. So we were able to save $20 a Chromebook by going with a third-party warranty and then sourcing to, like I said, I leveraged that quote program multiple times through ILT. I solicited a variety of vendors, and this market was pretty tumultuous. Manufacturers were updating prices almost on like a bi-weekly basis. So to find a vendor that was willing to work with us, and we didn't have to waver on the specifications. So we were lucky to find this, to be frank. Yeah.
So I'm assuming these are the same exact models?
It's a 4S. We've been using a 4 for the last 2 classes. This is a 4S. What we really liked about this, we were able to source Chromebooks with Intel processors, which was really hard to come by without paying a premium. So like I said, we worked with Vivacity for minor Chromebook accessory purchases, but they blew every other vendor far and away for pricing. And the companies that did quote us were quoting specifications that were not what we wanted for more money. So we were able to find something that met our needs as best as it possibly could. So they're currently on Gen 5. This is the 4S. So we were using Gen 4 for
close to 5.
Yes, close to 5. Gen 5 was just released, I think, in February. So
Wouldn't this be a wonderful opportunity for the Fenton School Board to partner with the Bensenville Community Foundation? Because many of our students have financial needs. This would be a great way to find an additional funding source to offset some of this cost. Seems like it could be a real good partnership. Could we, rather than approving this tonight, could we make a request to the Bensenville Community Foundation to support some funding to make this purchase for our students?
Well, the foundation lost most of its funding. We're only doing mini grants of between $5,000 and $10,000. Yes, that would help. It would have to already have been on the agenda, so we would delay this vote by 2.5 months. And what would that do to us getting these computers in time for school to save of $5,000?
Yeah, the quote would not be valid again. There'll be another price.
We should have thought of that prior to this, and I got it. That we'll keep this on the radar for next year and see if foundation gets more funding and we can bring it to them. But this is what they would consider a day-to-day expense for us, whereas the backboard, the musical instrument, and some of the other things were above and beyond the day-to-day expense. So we can look at this for next year. I'll be happy to bring it up next year, but I think a 2.5-month delay would kill this, and we would not have Chromebooks for school when it started. So I'll be happy to bring this to the foundation next year if we should so choose, but that should get to me in January. So you and I can talk in January, and I could bring it to the foundation and see if they would be willing to contribute. But it would be a mini grant, $5,000 to $10,000.
And John,
that would be the max.
Just for my clarification, the Bensenville Community Foundation is not well-funded?
No, we lost the Subaru funds. It went to a different organization within Bensenville at the choice of Grand Subaru. So the big check we normally get went away. So we're working off of what we have in the bank, and they've opted to go forward with mini grants only, $5,000 to $10,000, and they're really prioritizing books, musical instruments, sports equipment, things like that moving forward. So
just out of curiosity, where did Grand Subaru send their check?
It's to another organization in Bensenville. I forgot the name of it. I can find out.
Yeah, I'd be grateful.
I will find out. I will get that for you. I'll shoot you an email. We have a meeting on the 2nd, so I can ask that question. I just don't remember. I'll go through my notes when I have time.
I remember hearing about the Subaru thing.
Yeah, Subaru went to a different organization in Bensenville.
And there's no way of predicting if we can get it
If it
next year
even
either, or if it
continues.
continues.
But we could look for a mini grant. $5,000 is $5,000, but that we'd have to bring this up in January. So it's something we can consider next year. I'd be happy to bring it up. I just don't think right now we have the time.
Some good news is you got them less than last year, and you got a grant to go with it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a plus.
And we have 50 Chromebooks that do operate.
Yes, but again, they're at this point over 4 years old, so we use them for limited amounts of time, like state testing, or you hear that barcode going off, that's because it's a Minga kiosk for kids to scan in. Limited use, I wouldn't put them in the hands of students because they're end of life, end of support.
So we're still buying 260 even if we use those?
Well, you'd be buying the 310 to support the class of 2030. Like I said, I don't know if we would be willing to give out those 5-year Chromebooks to the incoming freshmen. I don't think that they're not supported with OS updates. I don't know if that would be a viable solution for them. They're not going to have the tech equal to their classmates.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is NetSec classroom lease agreement. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approves the NetSec lease agreement as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Abstain.
McCullough,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Next item is Arbor contract renewal for the 2026-27 school year.
That's lunch, right?
It'll be Whitson's. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the contract renewal extension commencing July the 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 with Arbor Management Incorporated for the provision of food service management.
Motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Were there other bids?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
This was approved in 2 years ago, so this is the renewal of that bid. But yes, there was an RFP process 3 years ago, and Arbor Management, who was then recently bought out in August of '24 by Whitson's. They are now the managing partner, but Arbor had won that bid back then. So this is the second time of the renewal of that.
Right, so it was a 5-year contract with an annual renewal.
Correct.
That's right. That's right. That's what it was, 5 with annuals. This is year 3.
Well, did they give us a good price?
part of the responsibility, they have to adhere to CPI. So the rate of increase every year is based upon CPI for food, that particular portion of CPI that's related to food. So it'll go up just over 4% for next year with food costs.
All right.
So it's just CPI. That's what it is.
Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Oh, Lord. Next item is IASB press policy, October 2025 recommendations. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the October 2025 press policy updates as presented for the following policies: 2-120, 2-270, 3-10, 3-50, 3-60, 4-10, 4-30, 4-80, 4-110, 4-140, 4-150, 4-160, 4-170, 4-190, 5-10, 5-20, 5-90, 5-100, 5-185, 5-190, 5-200, 5-220, 5-280, 5-300, 6-40, 6-60, 6-130, 6-135, 6-160, 6-220, 6-235, 6-240, 6-260, 6-270, 6-280, 6-300, 6-310, 6-315, 6-320, 7-10, 7-130, 7-140, 7-250, 7-315, 8-30, and 8-10.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
McCullough,
Yes.
Radzinski,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, motion passed. Do we have any committee reports?
The Bensonville Foundation meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow has been moved to a week from tomorrow, April 2nd. I am able to attend at this time. I will look into who got the Subaru grant. I went through my notes. Unfortunately, I didn't write down the name of the organization. I think it was the Bensonville Youth Coalition?
It was a youth
That's
coalition.
it. Bensonville Youth Coalition received the Subaru funds. Sorry, I had to think for a minute. So Mike and I will be at the meeting, and Mike or I will report back at the next meeting on the foundation. But we are only doing mini grants moving forward due to our limited funds, and I believe we only have one or two on the agenda. We just got an update. I believe we're 2 mini grants to review for the next meeting. So that's all I got.
It seems like the Bensonville Community Foundation, if all the funds from Grand Subaru were going to move to this other organization, the Bensonville Community Foundation is pretty much dead.
There's money in the bank. They had money prior to the Subaru funds. The Subaru funds just gave them the ability to do more. So they do have a funding source. They do have some investments. But prior to the Subaru, it was all mini grants. It was all $5,000 to $10,000 grants. Nothing big like they were doing when we had the Subaru money. So it's not going away, but it's very limited on what we can and can't do. And they're being much more selective and trying to stick more to the true intent of the bylaw. You know, musical instruments, sporting equipment, books, things like that. So, I mean, that's what we were talking about at the last meeting. We'll know more on this at the next meeting. I want to say we had like $34,000 available to use for the remainder of this fiscal year, and we're trying to be very cognitive of how we get that money and make sure they get to the right sources. So I'll have a better number after the next meeting.
I'd be curious to know, too, who the officers are and so forth, the organization of the Bentonville
Youth Foundation?
Yeah.
I think they're online. You can look them up. I have no idea.
Thank you, John.
No problem. I'm glad I could remember. My apologies for digging through my notes.
Any other committee reports?
Yes, Sam and I went to the NASEC meeting. Like any other organization, they got pros and cons. Money is scarcity everywhere. They got to renew the building, and they got to find the funding. Also, we got to notice that CSBO is leaving, and so is the director. So right now, they are looking for both. So it's going to be a tough decision in these coming months.
A tentative finance facility meeting is scheduled at 6 p.m. prior to the regular scheduled meeting. The next scheduled Board of Education meeting is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026 at 7 p.m. May I have a motion and a second to go into closed session for the following. A, 5 Illinois CS 120/2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of Fenton School District 100. B, 5 Illinois CS 120/2C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Figueroa?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Goodrich? McCullough?
Yeah.
Brzezinski?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes, motion passed. We're in closed session.
Closed session.
There would not be any decisions made Oh, we got enough. Can I have a motion to open session?
Motion.
Second. Who did the motion? I'm sorry. Was it Dr. McCall?
Yeah.
Sorry. Who was second?
Mike. Can I have a roll call?
Goodrich?
Yes.
Radzinski?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Figueroa?
Yes.
McCullough?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
Hey.
Hey.
Thank you.